5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hi everyone, here we are.
Hello everyone.
Live in the background.
I was having fun in the background. I was getting myself pumped up. That music is great. I love how it builds and it's like that, like just yes.
I wanted to do this action movie, that people get a little bit more, active during this session. So welcome at the Global Empowerment Summit. This is our second interview this morning. We started with Isabella Lundberg. It was an amazing information about refugee situation, about the future is young. Please watch back this show. It was really amazing what she shared, her story, her work around refugees and our future collaboration. It's a beautiful, beautiful 45 minutes with her. And now here we are with Nancy Perros from Voice Your Vibe. And she's also an amazing person teaching the future generation about things that they really need in life. So Nancy, how are you today?
I'm wonderful. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. When I was here for the workshop, the energy around everything that's happening is just, it's contagious and I love it. Thank you for having me. I feel so privileged to be here.
So we couldn't really had a big conversation with you during the workshop because it was all about helping people to understand how to go digital and what is digital awareness and what they can do around it. So I would like to start with a little bit of introduction about you. So Nancy, tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do? What's your favorite sport? What do you do to take care about yourself? A little bit about Nancy. Let's get to know you.
A little bit about Nancy, yes. Hi, Brian. Hi, Alina. I mean, the resume is that thing of like, I'm a keynote speaker. I am the creator and founder and, of the Chick with the Tool Belt, which is a program. Oh, there it is. Of helping people. It's a guided discovery program into finding your voice and how to express it in a way that feels authentic. I'm gonna assume that everyone can read all that amazing stuff that's on the screen. Thank you, Brian Shulman, for doing that. I am so proud of everything that's there in that comment. But in terms of Nancy Barrows, I'm a speech pathologist by training, and I work in the public school system in addition to having a private practice. I love the privilege of shaping good humans that I have been given in my role. I am a cat mom to 2 cats. I am a person who loves community and loves connection and thrives off of really meeting good people and bringing that positivity into my world. And we were talking a little bit before everything started about how one of the things that makes my heart sing is when that connection sort of crosses over. It's not just in this moment, but we were talking about how, JAG was President Shout Out Saturday, and seeing a name that I know from here show up somewhere else and solidifying that bond in that community and knowing that we're all out there helping one another, supporting one another, cheering one another on. And that just, like I said, it makes my heart absolutely sing.
And that's the living proof from Brian sending 10 different comments, like just about how people can reach you and then keep supporting you every single time when you are going live. I just love this bond between the two of you. And I love how you are supporting each other. And also the Voice Your Vibe tribe, because you are doing this show every single Wednesday. For us in Malaysia, it's Thursday morning. And it's part of the show because a Global Empowerment Summit is supporting you. So the people who are at this summit, they can also contribute and join the show, just like you said, and just like they did before. But Nancy, let's get together around the topic that is here today, which is about social cognition in the digital world, because we have around 20 minutes to talk about it. So let's just jump right into it. So what is social cognition? Let's go with the definition first. And why is it so important today when we are going digital?
So social cognition, basically social thinking, how we relate to people in our world, how we, most of us, I should say, are able to pick up on those hidden rules and what we're supposed to do. So for example, probably no one has told you that you need to wait in line for the restroom, and you can't just crawl under a stall door because you need to go. No one needs to teach you that. We're able to tease out that that is how things go. And that happens so many times over the course of a day. And our ability to be successful in life, create successful relationships and those kind of connections is really dependent on understanding that. And when you take that digitally, there's a whole nother layer. So when you're live like this, great, you can see my facial expression, you can hear the intonation of my voice, and that's super helpful. But that's not always the case. So digital could be an email, it could be comments, it could be any version of where communication is happening that's not face-to-face. And a lot of what we're seeing today, especially with, kids who grew up on a screen, with a screen in their face, and or through talking through, video games, right? They're talking to a screen that doesn't have a face on it, doesn't have a person. It's hard to have a conversation. The basics of conversation are not there always when you are having digital interactions. So that social thinking of like being able to make eye contact, being able to maintain, an interaction, being able to switch topics seamlessly, all of those pieces. I mean, I experience it with my nieces and nephews. We'll go for dinner and everybody has to put their phones face down in a pile, in the middle. And I will say, I mean, these are educated kids who are around conversation, who, have been socialized. It's hard for them. They don't know how to do that necessarily, because the reality is we need to be exposed to it and our brain picks it up and learns it. But if you're not getting that, you're not going to learn it. And, again, it's this crossover. And I love the theme here is, right, we've got the wise and we've got the young and we've got the crossover, because we're all doing it together. And it's, I always think about my mom and dad knowing just enough to be dangerous socially and cognition, socially and digitally. And knowing, like, I love when my mom signs her comments, even though it says her name, so there's all these little pieces that go into it, but it goes into making us successful. And really now, with what's been going on in the world for the last 2 years, our ability to digitally connect and use that social cognition has been like a lifeline for people. It's really been a place where if you are not, quote unquote, good at it, skilled at it, people are feeling that. You're feeling that isolation. You're feeling the inability to connect. You're feeling, for a lot of people I hear, left out, right? You're just not a part of things. And that's super hard on top of already being physically isolated from, the people around us.
So what do you think is the first step to help those people, like support them to get a little bit more digitally savvy, or just make it more sound familiar for them or friendly for them to use the digital? Because I know, for example, you mentioned Jag. Hi, little Catty.
Yes.
I had the same at another live interview.
Yes, this is how things work around here. Let's talk about being real. Here you go, radiating real. This is my cat. He needs to sit on my neck whenever he wants to. So that's what happens.
So yes, we were talking about the being more acceptive and more embracing digital. Like we were talking about Jag, and Jag is someone who is already from the wise generation, and she was inspired just by listening to the conversations that we had throughout this Global Empowerment Summit. And now she's releasing her ebook. She wrote it in 1 week, and I'm like, Jesus Christ! It's just, I love Jag. It's really something that it's I want to shout it out, like, yes, you do it on Wednesdays, because this is something inspiring for every age group, that nothing can stop you if you would like to do something, right?
No, that's phenomenal, and definitely something to celebrate. And please, Jag, if you're listening, I know you've been doing this 24/7. You're an amazing friend that's giving so much incredible support. If you are available tomorrow for What's Good Wednesday, or Saturday for Shout Out Saturday, please let us celebrate you. Come join us so that we can celebrate you. I mean, that's a testament to what can happen for showing up, right? This summit is about making connections and learning and growing. And look what happened. If that happened for one person, then this has been a success. And the reality is, it's probably happened for many people, and maybe you won't hear about it directly, or it might not be something that they can tangibly show, but it's happening because you have put this together and created this space. And I so appreciate and love that. And to what you're saying is, yes, digitally, our generational gap digitally, it's there, right? And one of the things that I encourage people and remind them is, it's okay to not get it right, to make a mistake. right? Go ahead, jump on. And if you get it wrong, you get it wrong. And that's okay, especially if we are reminding ourselves about how people are learning new things and that we have the ability to be patient with one another. We have the ability to give one another grace, and we have the ability, the amazing ability to teach one another. So if someone shows up and they're struggling, what a beautiful opportunity to help them learn, get connected, and grow. And same for the young generation. This is so easy for, well, you know what? Sometimes you have to come back a little bit to us and learn how to interact a little bit more, at a little bit more like human face-to-face level, which is not something necessarily you're used to. You grew up with the screen and you had all the communication you needed at your fingers. I mean, if I was going to keep in touch with people growing up, it was a letter and a phone call that you timed because you were paying by the minute. It's a whole different world. And I think that's the other thing, is that people of a younger generation take for granted what we are able to do digitally. So the piece of social cognition is not just how to show up. It's being aware of everyone's experience, being able to take that perspective, being able to give grace, be kind, be generous with our knowledge, and embrace one another where we're at and help one another grow.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And this radiating real and your cause and purpose around helping the people, just like totally honestly, without any expectations, with Brian and with your work with the youth and everything is just amazing. I believe it's something to follow, and I really urge people to follow. Brian put all the different availabilities here in the comments, so you can reach out to Nancy. And Brian is also saying what a gift digital is to us all now more than ever than the last few years. So it's just something that keep us connected. But as you said, also, it's very important to see the other side, that there is another side, like for the youth who are growing up in front of the screen, they also have to experience the other side, going out and being with others live in person when it's when we can do it and when it's allowed, because that's something that will make our life full, right?
Right. And I will admit, like I had to level up my social cognition when I got on to places like LinkedIn. So I jumped onto LinkedIn. It's been less than a year. And the beautiful thing was, I didn't know all the rules about social media. I didn't know metrics. I didn't know that I was supposed to be like giving a certain message. I didn't know not to share other people's posts. I just showed up. And that's what Radiating Real came from. Truly, is that this in the workshop on, positive digital self-care, it all goes together in that, I just showed up and I was me, and people kept saying how authentic and real I was. And I thought, well, if that's what they're commenting on, it must not happen very often. And so my digital cognition came in, and I'm not going to change how I show up, but how can I help others in how they show up? Find their voice, comfortably express it digitally. I'm in that gap where, again, I know just enough to be dangerous. I am, 48 years old. I know what I know, and I don't know what I don't know. And what I know, when what I know doesn't work, I'm lost. So, it's been a learning process for me as well, which has given me a great perspective on both sides of it, because I know enough to be here digitally, but I also lack a lot of skills that would make that seamless. It's like some of the platforms that people go on, like Twitch, I can't keep up. It's more of a gaming platform. It's fast. I just can't do it. And there's that space where I remember putting up a comment one day, like, I just don't know what I'm doing here. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't get it. And everyone's like, oh, you just put emojis, you'll be fine. And that support and encouragement, just again, learning new ways to communicate. And in that world, it's different. And it just, this piece of social cognition opens doors for us. It really does. It allows us to connect on a deeper level. And that comes from knowing that showing up as who you are, right? Being vulnerable. And like you said, that unconditional acceptance and love that we all can offer one another allows each and every one of us space and grace. And so again, how do you do that is the question. Well, it's a pretty human thing, right? If you think of any learner, and I usually put it in terms of like a young learner, because I worked in elementary schools for 20 plus years. You think of a kindergartner learning, you do not lose your patience with them the first mistake they make. You do not lose your patience with them when they need to hear it again. You do not lose your patience with them when they try it, they get frustrated, and they don't get it. And so any learner learning something new is going to go through that. So both from the outside, what we can give our community members is that grace, that space, that understanding, but for ourselves to understand, right? You do not need to beat yourself up. You do not have to be defeated. You just have to keep going.
I love the message of being patient, because it's such an amazing message for all generations, because the youngsters here are facing the the instant gratification, like they want those likes just like when they post, straight after that, in 1 second they want everyone to love them, and it doesn't really happen in real life like this. You really have to work for it, so that the other person get to know you, get to like you, and then they want to interact with you, and then they need you. So it's kind of like a process that has been a little bit pushed up by the social medias. And on the other side, I see the wise generation who are just really need time to catch up, because they haven't been conditioned with the social media and with the digital devices and whatever is happening. They don't really have the time, because it happens so fast. Like we have been pushed like immediately in 2 years into this new world, and no one helped them. So it's kind of like patience on both sides, right, Nancy?
It's patience for each generation. It's patience for ourselves, and it's patience for the people around us, truly. And, it's one of those things, and you bring up a good point, where social media tosses you into the deep end, right? Everyone who follows you, everyone who likes you is automatically a friend, or at least that's the feeling, right? You get that, like, oh my gosh, like we're friends, we know each other, and I can see all your stuff you put on social media. I know so much about you. And the reality is, it just doesn't work like that. True friendships and relationships really develop through adversity. Being able to be there with one another, and in those vulnerable moments, taking that step forward and just being with someone when they need you in the way that they need you. And I think that's a huge thing. Social media, he's back. Social media is one of those places, and it's one of the things I advocate for, is why we need to be real, is because people are comparing themselves, and people are, curating their content and their profiles, and people think they know one another, but they don't really. It's only as healthy and positive as we allow it to be by our willingness to show up a certain way. And that's so important on so many levels. It's what's going to bring us those deeper friendships. It's what's going to allow us to get to know one another. But on the other side, it's what allows us to throw away judgment. It allows us to we're all living life, so we know how hard that is. Right? We all know that is a challenge, and I've got a cat all over the keyboard now, so hopefully you still have me. We all know it's a challenge, but we silently have all entered into this pact that we're only going to present the best of it. And that is such a dangerous trap. It's such a dangerous trap, because you then start to judge yourself against other people, because that's human nature. It's what we do. But when you have no evidence to the contrary to fight the narrative you're developing, it's really easy to go down that path and feel like it is so true, because everything around you, all the evidence you can gather, tells you it is, unless we're showing up real. And that's a huge piece of social cognition. Knowing how you impact the person next to you, knowing how you are perceived and the impact that has on the people around you, is one of the most important parts of social cognition. The reality is, we do it every day. Like, how do you want to be perceived? We can't make people think anything, but we can manipulate certain things so that we are perceived in a certain way. I work with people all the time who have difficulty with this, will say to me like, well, I don't know, just out of nowhere, he blew up at me. Okay, back it up a step. What was happening before that? What was happening before that? What was happening before that? And you get to a point where, they were starting to feel, you didn't bother to think about the fact that they were starting and showing signs of upset and frustrated, and all these warning signs were coming because you weren't taking perspective, you weren't keyed in, you weren't thinking about the person you were interacting with and the impact you have on them. And what do people do when they're frustrated and annoyed and fed up? Yeah, they yell. They raise their voices. And that's exactly what happened. And so much of this, in so many ways, and this is why I love this area of social cognition, because it's so intertwined into everything we do. And there's so much to figure out and understand that, okay, well, I can't make anyone do anything, but I certainly can influence them. And how do I want to influence the people around me? Again, we talk about it all the time. Are you a positive, impact in people's life? Do you bring positivity? Are you negative? Are you being real? We do it all the time. And again, a lot of social cognition is just learned and it's inherent. But with digital social cognition, some of the rules are different and we can get caught up. And that's where patience and grace and honesty really come through as our saving graces.
Love it, Nancy. And I just would like to share a little bit of statistics that I found about loneliness all around the world, just to put a little bit of numbers behind this and how people are conceived that they are having everything, they're connected globally through the internet, but still people feel really lonely. So this is from the Statista. It's statista.com. You can check it yourself. And it was made by 23,000 respondents from the age group of 16 to 74 years. And you can see that according to this survey, about 33% of adults experience feeling of loneliness worldwide in the years when this was done. And it was actually done between December 2020 and January 2021. So this is a global issue where everyone around the world is feeling lonely, although we are connected through internet and although we are having all these digital connections opportunities, the way how we do it, and that's what you were explaining to us in your workshop and today in this interview, right? How we do it could be better to really give that connection, right?
The reality is in real life, you can be with someone and feel lonely. So the same thing happens digitally, right? You can be in a group of people and feel lonely. So, that piece that people are feeling lonely is that access, that ability. And to me, the biggest piece of it is relatability, right? You don't feel alone when you feel like there's someone who understands, cares, knows, and you can talk to, even if you don't ever say a word to them. That is one of the huge erasers, those key pieces of feeling lonely, right? When you feel connected and relatable, like you can relate to someone, that's the first step in feeling like, well, I'm not alone. And again, like you said, a lot of that has to do with, yes, it ties into our digital self-care, because part of that is how we show up and showing up for one another. But it has to do with, again, this radiating real, this showing up, finding your voice, knowing how you want to express it that feels good to you. I say all the time that radiating real and the chick with the tool belt, it's not about ripping open your heart and telling every secret you've ever kept, because that's not real. Nobody does that. That's not the point of it. The point is like, what is it that you're feeling you want to share or that's heavy on your mind, and finding that inner voice and that inner strength to know how you want to present that to the world, how that's going to feel good and how it's going to be sustainable.
Love it. And Brian just put here the link again for your show, which is in the US tomorrow, and in Asia it's Thursday morning. So in the US Wednesday evening, in here in Asia, the other side of the world, it's a morning time on Thursday. So please join in. We also have the link. And you can also just join and go to Brian's or Nancy's profile, and you will see actually the links there. So please do so and join in. If you are really lonely, I have experienced it many times myself. It's a really, really good place to be, where they are just having fun and they are bringing the honesty to the plate, and then they are really radiating real, like Nancy is saying and advocating for it. and bringing you some love, some positivity, some support, some fun with all the filters that you have, guys. It's just an amazing experience.
Yeah.
So
we're
Nancy,
gonna social distance, and one of the unique things about the shows What's Good Wednesday and Shout Out Saturday is we don't have guests. Lots of shows schedule guests. You're going to come listen to someone else talk. You're going to gain knowledge from them, which is a beautiful thing. However, all the guests on our shows come from the comments. They are members of our community who come up and they tell us what's good, or they shout out people who have made a difference in their life in that week. And we celebrate that. We celebrate the good. We celebrate the positive. And it comes directly from our community, so we know it's relevant and we know that it's resonating with people. So I encourage all of you to show up and, say hi to one another in the comments. It's an amazing community. And we'd love to have you.
Thank you very much. So at the end of this conversation, it was amazing to have you here. And I would like to borrow your cat, definitely, because I want to caress an animal for so long. In Malaysia, I couldn't have anything around me. So I just want to have
You're welcome to come and snuggle with him anytime. He's alive. I have 2 of them that are loves. But yes, if you need a scarf, he's the one for the job.
That's amazing. And then at the end of this show, let's just say, what would be your message for the young and the wise out there to be bold together? How could they do that with the help of the digital social cognition?
I think it's pretty simple, although for a lot of people it's scary, and I understand that, is show up as you. And if we show up as one another, both as the person showing up, but show up as ourselves for other people, we're going to bring that empathy and that patience and that kindness, because as human beings, those are gifts that we possess and naturally want to share with other people. So for me, the big thing is show up as you are and connect honestly and in a real way. And it's okay to be scared. And if you're showing up somewhere and you're feeling like a little, as my family would say, ooh about it, tag me. I will show up too. I will be there, and I will make sure that you are not alone.
Thank you very much, Nancy. It was an amazing conversation. I will say hi to Brian too, and all the support that he gives. And please, guys, if you are feeling lonely and you would like to join something, then join the Voice Your Vibe show. This show tomorrow in US in the evening and in the morning in Malaysia. So please do it. This is a beautiful, beautiful show, and Nancy and Brian is bringing the fun. So Nancy, thank you very much for being here. It was great to have you, and have a beautiful evening. Love your cat.
Thank you. Love to you. Love that you are creating this space for everyone, and thank you for the privilege of being here.
Thank you very much, Nancy. And guys, watch out for social cognition. Read around it. Ask Nancy about it. Reach out to Nancy. We have been showing the Instagram profile, the LinkedIn profile, the email address.
You can pretty much send
out all your details. Watch out for Brian, because he's dangerous.
Please, yes, find me. I'm out there. Short of smoke signals, you can find me. So.
Thank you very much, Nancy. Have a beautiful evening. Bye-bye.
You as well. Bye.
Bye. And here we are at the Global Empowerment Summit again. I just had an amazing conversation with Nancy. So please, please, please go and check out here the What's Good Wednesday tomorrow in the US in the evening. Today in the US this evening. Sorry, I'm so mixed up with the time zones. And tomorrow morning in Malaysia, Thursday morning time. Please do that and get some positive vibes here. And now I will just give you a little heads up about the Global Empowerment Summit, what's coming up, and then we go straight away and we will listen to some inspiring young people from the Inspired Summit, because Elmarie was providing me some beautiful, beautiful interviews that they had during the Inspired Summit happening a little bit earlier in August. So what's coming up today is kind of like a very amazing lineup again. Let me just remove the banner so that I can go and show you what's coming up. And straight after that, I go to my topics here. So now we just finished the second interview. After Isabella, I was talking to Nancy about social cognition, and we are having the Inspired Youth Summit update, the collaboration part 2, when we are talking about coping strategies. Straight after that, from 11, we will have Michael Hazilius again from Australia talking about cryptocurrency investing. Very important topic today. The market is booming, so it's a good opportunity to go there with a good help and with good knowledge and awareness. Then we will have Dr. Anjali Doshi here talking about active aging. So if you would like to have some tips, then just join in. After, we have a little bit of lunch break so that I can also get my energy back. And we have Jeffro Ong in the workshop room coming with combating burnout, managing stress and fatigue in the demanding times like this. So please join the workshop room. If you don't remember, workshop rooms are available on Zoom. Every workshop is in the same Zoom room. So even if you have the link once, you just save it. You can hop into any of our workshops. But if you are just newcomer, go to the website globalempowermenthub.com, and there you will have a link in the schedule. You just click on the title of the session that you would like to join in, and you will have all the different links there straight away on the website in the embedded calendar. Then we have a little break again, and we come back with Anders Juel Rasmussen about chapter jewelry, handmade and ethical. So it's a totally different topic to give you another perspective. Then we have the evening break, my dinner, and then we come back with Anne-Marie about her French adventure part 2. Let's check in what's going on with her and her Airbnb and bread and breakfast that she is building up right now in France, as she was relocating from Malaysia to France. Then we have Samita Sparks, who is just doing as a research on young employees, and she will share the results on it. And we have Novish Ramesh about course creation and framework for trainings and courses. So if you are creating, or if you want to create some kind of modules for your audience, this is the place to be from 8 p.m. Malaysia time or Singapore time. Please check it out. Same link, workshop links, all in the schedule. And then we're finishing up the day with making a mark in a high-tech digital world as a woman. And we have a panel discussion by amazing women. Isabella is also part of that. And you can see them and you can listen to them and be part of this conversation. And very late tonight, we are doing a Clubhouse Club Room. Also, it's opening up just for you to relax, to talk to us. We have a specific topic where you can also part of the conversation. This is today, and I'm really happy to have you all here. And let's just start the video that I prepared for today with the help of Anne-Marie and the Inspired Youth Summit. Let me just share my screen, and I shouldn't forget to share the audio. Yes, that's it. And we go to day 3 of the Inspired Youth Summit with beautiful, beautiful people. So let's just open one of the conversations. I will just make sure we are at the right place. I will make it bigger size, and I will share it on the screen. So enjoy the video. We will play it, and then straight away from 11, we will have Michael here about cryptocurrency investing. What an amazing topic. Let me take away the branding from Nancy and enjoy the show.
How have you kind of coped with being isolated and, being forced to stay at home?
I mean, obviously there are a lot of negative things about it, but there were some benefits that did help me. Since I was at home so much, and my mom works from home, we spent like every single day together for so long, and we usually, I go to school and we don't see each other like 24/7. But now, during online school stuff, she would make me lunch every day, and we would see each other a lot more. I would see my siblings and my dad a lot more too, because I went to school in a different city, so I'd have to like take the train, so I would be home kind of late, and by then my siblings and my dad would have been home for a few hours already. So I did spend more time with my family. I would love to say that I made a lot of good use of my time, like it seems a lot of people here have, which is really great, but I struggled with that, to be honest. I definitely feel like I could have done more with my time, but I felt like time passed really quickly for me. Like I would always think, oh, I'm gonna start doing this or doing that, and now's my chance to work on this hobby or start doing something. But a lot of the times it just never happened, and then all of a sudden I would realize, it's been a year or more of, well, not really lockdown in Sweden, but of online school, for example, and I haven't done that much.
But well, like what you mentioned earlier about not being able to spend your time, doing as many productive things as you'd like, I think motivation is a big part of that, right? Like it's hard, especially in the pandemic, to always have to find motivation to do things that you find productive or fulfilling.
I mean, was definitely hard at first, like extremely hard. It was a new setup, and like I guess like most people, I just started watching like movies and like series, and that was like what I did until a certain point where I was like, okay, this is enough now. It got kind of addictive, and I had to like pull myself back because I had to go back to school, and I had to like regain my study pattern, and I had to do all those things. So like the first thing I did was, when I reached in Thailand, we have like this boarding house community where we're like 70 to 100 people, I think. And those are like the people I would like chat with. We would have like games night every single Friday, which I know many people didn't have. And like, I'm happy that I had that. So that was like my social interactions with people, games night. And like when I'm by myself, I would like make collages for like my laptop and my phone, and just like stuff to stick around my room because I was also homesick. I would also like skip, like jump rope, just for the sake of having some exercise, which I rarely have now that COVID happened. I would also like go skateboarding, and I like learned that in like 7 months. I'm still not a professional, but just picking up new habits like that, small stuff, is what helped me through my quarantine and COVID.
Maybe I can ask Rita. So when things get tough for you and maybe you're feeling a bit down or lonely or whatever, do you have a specific like go-to strategy to calm yourself down?
Yeah. Yeah, many times I just feel like it's just too much for me. The stress for school is way too much because, some teachers, I know they try their best, but some teachers just expect that since you're at home, you have all the free time you want, so you can just work 24/7, which is not a very good thing because we still need a break, even though we have all the time we need to do whatever we want. So when I did feel very stressed out and overwhelmed, I would usually either go walk around outside or play a certain sport, even if it's just by myself. Yeah, I found that very helpful. I would talk to my friends sometimes if it was very bad, like very overwhelmed. I talk to my friends, mostly my family. They helped a lot. We also do game nights, and we work on a lot of puzzles, and we watch movies. So yeah.
Finding something that works for you, especially finding ways to connect with other people, is a really effective way of dealing with stress and anxiety, and especially, of course, with loneliness.
This was one of the beautiful videos, and you can see how youth exactly coping with these things, and you can learn from them how they did. Maybe in your loneliness, maybe in your journey, you can also do the same. So let's bring up another one, because I believe we have a lot of things here that we can actually use. Let me just change the video to another session which they had, and let's listen to more. We can learn so much from these young guys. How did they cope? And the honesty is just beautiful. What they have throughout these sessions at the Inspired Youth Summit. So let me just put it up and let me just start it for you from there. And I will put it in a big screen. Enjoy the next conversation from the Inspired Youth Summit, sent to me by El-Marie, who will come back this afternoon to us at the summit. So let's do it.
Topic 3, coping skills. Feel like this could apply to a lot of things. First of all, coping with online school, online learning. You know, some of your classmates are cheating and it's not really fair. We've talked about that. And we've talked about how it's sometimes more difficult to learn online, although for some people it's better. And also, I guess, with the fact that it's very stressful to be living in a world where there is COVID-19. I mean, the world is not in a good state, and I'm sure there's a lot of maybe family and friends that have been affected, and it is, you know, it's scary. I know at least in the beginning I was very worried for, you know, my grandma, my mom, my dad, and it's a stressful situation. So how do you deal with that stress when, at least for the stress of COVID-19, there's not too much you can do about it except stay safe yourself and, you know, your family. Anyone have something to say, or should I call on someone? Dana?
Yeah, during online learning, it was new to us. It was a new experience, but we tried our best to cope with it. For me, was I just got the same high grade, so I started making Zoom meetings and explaining to my friends what they didn't learn and what they missed during online learning. Since in Lebanon, the internet is so slow, and there's also the electricity goes off, so I started to do some meetings in order to explain to them what they have missed. My friend and I did it. So I tried my best to cope with it and help my friends cope with the online learning and every new strategy in technology.
That's really great. I mean, I think it's very important to help your classmates and your friends when they're struggling a little bit. Already with that online learning, you know, people learn differently. Some people have it more difficult to learn in a traditional classroom setting. So I can only imagine how much harder it is to be sitting at home without that, I guess, more stimulating atmosphere of being in a classroom with an actual teacher and, you know, classmates around you. Hasna?
Actually, one of my family members, my grandma, my grandmother, and my grandfather they have been affected by COVID-19. Thank God they have made it safely, and everything's been good. And there's some of my family members that have died from COVID-19. That was a very bad thing. It struck our whole family as a whole, but we had to endure it. Our family here in the house, we would spread positivity, and we would always smile at each other, since that's a very important thing to do. Because if we don't smile, if we don't spread positivity more, people will only see the depression. We're only going to be sad. So here we coped by the death of our loved ones. We coped by just smiling. We know we should cry in order to relieve ourselves from the pain and the sadness. But at the same time, we had been always smiling at each other in order to hide the spirit, in order to make our spirits high, in order to be happy. It's the only way we could do. We can't go outside. The fun rail wasn't really that big. It's just the very close family. We didn't do the food after the fun rail. We have a tradition that we put food after the fun rail. We didn't do that thing. Many of our relatives just called on the phone to pay their condolences, and that's how we coped with it. Yana. It was very difficult indeed, but we had to do it either way. So thank God for everything.
No, I'm very sorry for your loss, but that is a really great mindset to have during these times. And I feel like everybody could take some of that advice. Because I stayed at home so much and my mom works from home, I saw her every single day for like, I don't know, a year more. And I mean, my family is very close, but you know, we go to school and like my dad goes to work, so it's not we see each other 24/7 all the time. So it was definitely different, but there were a lot of good things about it too. Yeah. Hasna, you have something more to say?
Yes, I would like to add something. My mother actually is a teacher. So we would be sticking to each other. Her computer would be right next to mine, and I'd be taking the classes, and she'd be giving the students classes so the students can hear what I can say, and my friends can hear what she says.
This was again an other perspective that you can learn from. And I was thinking that at the website, the globalempowermenthub.com, we released a smile challenge. So it's exactly connecting what the guys are saying, the youngsters are saying here, that you need to smile. You need to give this smile to everyone who you meet, because you never know what you can trigger with that smile. Maybe just one good day for someone who haven't had a good day for a long time. Maybe just a little bit of feeling good when someone is lonely. So please don't be greedy with the smiles. And if you would like to do the smile challenge, what you have to do is just be a member of the website. And then you will figure out that on the hub, we have a challenge page. So under the challenge page, you can find the different challenges. And one of them is a smile challenge. So I give you different steps throughout the different days, what you need to do. And then if you complete this challenge, you will see the positive effect of smiling and what it can bring to other people. So let's see, we have one more video. Let me just change it again. And in the meantime, if you have questions or if you like what you've seen, then please just let me know. I believe these youngsters are super inspiring. So let me check the last video that we have. And let's watch it before Michael is coming into the studio. Let's bring it up, guys. Enjoy.
My name is Majid Mustafa. I'm from Uganda, and in today's forum, I will be your moderator. I'll be asking you the questions, or mainly I will be conducting the forum and making sure I'll be basically directing the discussion. And thank you for all the esteemed panelists for attending the session. And I mean, we can go forward with each introducing ourselves. I think I've introduced myself enough, and I guess we could start with Rafa from the left of the screen. If you could please introduce yourself, the stage is yours.
Hello everyone, I'm Rafa Al-Khatib. I'm from Lebanon, and I guess I'm really excited to be here today. I'm also very excited to be part of this. It's such a nice thing for us youth. Thank you.
You're welcome. And moving on to my right is Salama. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, by the way. So if I mispronounced your name, please forgive me for the first time. Please introduce yourself.
No, it was right. My name is Salama Salem. I am from the United Arab Emirates, and I'm excited also to be here. And it is such a big opportunity for all of us, I think. I
hope all of you guys have the same view like me, because when I say right, like I'm basically saying it from how I'm seeing the screen. So I guess the next person would be Brunmayi Rahalkar. Yeah, the stage is yours.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Brunmayi Rahalkar. I am from India. I am 19 years old, and it is an honor to be a part of this panel discussion. I am looking forward to having great conversation with all of you. Thank you.
You're welcome. And Davida, I'm so sorry for mispronouncing the name again. Forgive me for the first time. Yeah, please introduce yourself.
So, hello everyone. I am Daveda Darshini. That's my name, Daveda Darshini. I am from India, and again, I'm looking forward to this conversation. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for introducing yourself. And Sivani P. Nathan, please tell us about yourself and introduce yourself. Which country are you from? How old you are? You know, just the basic introduction.
Hey everyone, I'm Shivani P. Nathan. I'm from India and I'm 15 years old, and I'm really looking forward to hearing everyone's ideas and expressing my own.
Very happy to have you. And Milena Danilova, could you please introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Miliana. I'm 15 years old and I'm from Uzbekistan. I'm really glad to be here because I've been looking for an opportunity like this for quite some time now.
We're very glad to have you, by the way. And is Kasyat Nurlan Bikova over here?
Yeah, I'm here. My name is Kasyat Nurlanbekova and I'm from Kyrgyzstan. So I'm really happy to be here and hope that everybody will get some experience. That is all.
And likewise, we're very happy to have you. And Rahaf Hamza, if you can also introduce yourself.
Hello everyone, I'm Rahaf Hamza. I'm 17 years old and I'm from Lebanon. I'm very glad to be here. It's really an honor to be invited to this summit, and I like to hear from everyone. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for introducing yourself. Hopefully I haven't left anyone else out. It's very nice to see that there are people actually like youth joining us from every part of the world. I mean, we have people from Lebanon, people from Emirates, from India, from Kyrgyzstan. It's amazing. And I'd like to pose my question. So what activities did you do to keep yourself busy? Did you get into drawing? Did you get into influencing online? I mean, many people, you know, they develop such hobbies during lockdown and isolation to keep themselves, I'd say, you know, in touch with reality. So what did you do? What hobbies or activities did you get into?
To be honest, I feel very privileged to talk about these things because obviously I had the privilege to live in a house, to have any food that I needed at any time. I had access to everything, but because of that privilege, I didn't have to fight to live. So I kind of just slept pretty much all day. My thoughts were getting a little too much for me. I was becoming very I had a lot of self-hatred at that time. I started to develop nightmares. I had to go to a doctor at some point to be able to sleep because I became very sensitive to noises, and even though I had everything that I should have had to be able to be happy, I was still fighting to survive. So that was quite difficult for me.
I see. Thank you very much for sharing your experience. I think many of us can in a way sympathize and empathize and relate with your situation, and we're always hopeful that whatever happens, however difficult the situation can get, it will turn out for the better, hopefully. So thank you very much, Milena, for sharing your experience. And what activities did you do to help you with your mental health and to help you with getting used to living in isolation? Did you read books, archery, horse riding? I don't know, what exactly did you do?
Okay, firstly, I live in Kyrgyzstan, and that's why we have an ability to go to the mountains, and we were just like every weekend go to the mountains. It's like family trips. So also, firstly, I was just in my room watching anime and like, oh my god, life is so bad. Then quarantine. In quarantine, we were fighting for, you know, who will go for the milk in the shop. We were like, no, I.
So the milk was finished in the shop? All the milk was finished? Like there were no groceries in the shop?
No. I'm telling, we with my family was fighting for, everyone wanted to go outside. So it was the only opportunity to go outside is go for milk or something, some products.
Essential. I see,
yes.
Essentials. That's very interesting. So you could go out in Kyrgyzstan, but only for the essentials, like only for the important things.
No, people could go. Yes, there were so much people who were outside, but our father was like, "No, this is quarantine, so sit at home," and we were sitting at home for a long time.
I see.
Yes.
Thank you very much for sharing your experience. So I guess we could start with Rahaf Hamza on the left, and then slowly move to the right of the panel. If it's the same for all of you guys, I guess, yeah. Go ahead, Rahaf Hamza.
I want to say the golden key to confront the challenges for teens is to resort to an expert. You know, we should like vent to an adult if we trust, just to release some stress. We can make use of our free time. Like we can learn a new hobby. We can just play, we can read books, we can do lots of things, and just like be aware that you're not alone. Yes, this is a situation every teen in the world is living, so we should be aware. We should resort to an expert or an adult whom we trust, so we can just release our stress. Yes.
Thank you very much for that advice and for that tip on how to cope with stress. And Runmai Rahad Khan, how would you advise someone, or how do you personally cope with stress?
Personally, if I am say very stressed, I like to journal. I usually write down what I'm feeling, or just like to let go of anything that's causing me stress. I try to keep my mind off that topic for some time, maybe indulge in some other activity, listen to some music, or just unwind for some time. But I feel that we, like, as of now, we are living in a pandemic, and there's a lot of uncertainty that's around, and it is actually very normal to feel a little vulnerable, or to feel a little more overwhelmed, or to get overwhelmed by, say, any small thing, or get triggered by anything that things that are happening around, because this is the new normal. You will hear good news, bad news on a daily basis, and it affects you both ways. So I feel on a personal level, we need to start accepting that it is fine to sometimes be a little more overwhelmed by things, or to feel a little more vulnerable, because it's okay. You need to take some time out for yourself, and I think you can work it out. Anybody can. You can.
That's true. The world is in your hands, as the proverb goes. And Savani P. Nathan, would you have any advice or any ways on how do you personally cope with stress?
I think expressing ourselves in art or writing or music you don't have to be good at what you do. It's just letting it out, as you mentioned before, like venting. I think instead of keeping it all in, I think that's a good way to cope with stress. And sometimes we have to realize that not everything is in our hands. Some things are just out of our control, and I don't think we should stress over stuff like that.
That's true. And what about Davida? What do you think about?
Yes. So, can you hear me now?
Yep, we can.
So personally, I have not been the person who's good at dealing with stress, but for me, what works is that if I'm stressed because of certain thing, then I think the opposite thing. If something does not happen the way I want, then I think that I imagine that it actually happens that way. So by imagining things that you want, just the opposite of what you think, then that way it kind of help relieving stress. But the thing is, that's not advisable, because you can't completely live in your own imagination. You have to face the reality. That's the most important thing. So I like reading books. I like watching stuff, like watching series or dramas or anything that can help relieve stress. And a message that I would like to give is that to make a world a better place to live. I think everyone has to change. I am starting to change. I realized what has to be changed. I've started changing myself, and I'm hoping that others will change with me.
That's a beautiful message, and I will finish with this, and then we are heading over to the other studio where Michael is already waiting for me. If you are interested in cryptocurrencies, if you want to learn something about this new opportunity of becoming financially independent, then please stay with us. We are continuing. You don't even have to change channel because we will be on the YouTube again live with Michael Hazelias. So thank you very much for watching, and see you in a few minutes with Michael again on the screen. And thank you, Elmarie, for all these beautiful, amazing, inspiring young people showing up at the Global Empowerment Summit as a collaboration with Inspired. So let's just put the branding up and see you very, very soon.